If you're a runner like me who finds the sport more of a lifestyle than just mere exercise, then you'll likely spend a lot of time listening to your favorite podcasts and watching your favorite YouTube personalities, trying to learn as much as you can about the sport. My guest today is just one of those people. In the last couple of years, she's harnessed her passion for running to create a wonderful YouTube channel and podcast. Her intelligence, warmth, and humor make her interviews with people from the running community a real joy. But today, I'm turning the tables and making her the subject of an interview. Of course, I'm talking about Suzie from I Run Things. This one is lots of fun, so let's go. Hi everyone, my guest today is a runner who also hosts the I Run Things YouTube channel and podcast. Her intelligent deep dive interviews with a wide variety of guests from the running industry have earned a following of hundreds, which is soon to be thousands. Her one-take vlogs are a stream of consciousness, good time that I always leaves me looking forward to her next post. But today I've decided to turn the tables and I'm going to interview her. So please join me in welcoming the illustrious Suzie from I Run Things. Thank you for being here, Suzie. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I was looking forward to this interview. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for being here. It's just really, it's great because I've been a fan of yours. For about a year, I've been aware of your channel, and every time I tune in, it's like another interview with somebody that I'm, just starting to learn about, and you do such a great job. And it's
thank you.
It's an honor to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. You're doing phenomenally well with your channel.
Thank you so much for saying so. I'm trying.
But, well, you're doing great.
Thank you. Before we jump into some more detailed questions, I was hoping that maybe you could just give people a quick bio of yourself, just a quick intro.
Sure. So I'm multifaceted. So primarily for my community, people know me as I Run Things. I started my YouTube channel about a year and a half ago. I started running before that, and I started the channel just as a way of documenting my journey for other people in the hopes of, like many of us, to just reach out to the community, stay motivated myself, maybe share tips with other people and learn from them. So it's a way of having like this continuous feedback going back and forth between me and the rest of the running community. And then that led to interviewing other folks. That piece of my channel, I have a whole playlist with interviews with people, turned into the podcast, which is something that I'm really enjoying right now. Mm-hmm. I actually was surprised to see how quickly it just, grew. So it's really, really satisfying to see both things growing as I run, as I grow as a runner myself. I have very aggressive goals for my running career, but I started in life, I was 40, I was about to turn 43 actually when I started running. So
you and I are just so similar. I was 42 when I picked up running. Wow. That's so cool.
So I started running, let me think about this. I'm going on 4 years. So yeah, I was 42. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've been at it for 9 years, just about 9 years now. So
very cool.
Wow, that's awesome. So okay, you talked about how aggressive you're trying to be with your running career, as an athlete. So let me ask a question about your athletic background. Kind of go back as far as you want to and just kind of bring us up to speed with where you are now.
So I would say I don't have an athletic background whatsoever. So I was always active as a person, but I never in high school, you would have looked at me and thought, okay, she's just going to be a stellar runner or nothing at all. Or swimmer, or like I always did kind of very, average. Like I did it. And to me, competing with other people was not necessarily what motivated me. It's more just improving myself. So sometimes seeing other kids that were much faster or much better did not necessarily just say, okay, I want to beat them. It was because they were like much, much better than me. It was more like internally, I would say, I want to do better. So sometimes the external pressure is not something that really makes me get there. So after high school and when I was in college, I started like really getting into mountain biking, which is, I'm a tiny person. I don't know. My brother used to do it, and he like go out with his mountain bike. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get a mountain bike. I'm going to go with my brother. So we would go out like 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
I'm from Madrid. We do have mountains. So go out there. Yeah. And just hit it. I remember sometimes like in the summer times, my mom, there were no cell phones at the time. So my mom used to like get really worried. She would my dad would be working, so he would not even know that my brother and I were out there. But like, how long are they going to be? Like, we would get back. It's like all sweaty and hungry. And my mom would be like, well, can you please tell me how many hours you're going to be out there? And we would be like, oh, we just go. Come on, when we come back.
Yeah, figure it out as we go kind of thing.
As a mother myself, I really can understand, because she would think that we were like out there. We would have been somewhere and broken ribs or something, which never happened. But
thank goodness.
So that was in college. Like I was active, but it was not really something competitive at all. And then I started, like when I started working, I would go to the gym, would take classes, like lift weights here and there, but it was nothing really ever competitive. I just do it because I wanted to be active. So so that was insane. And then I moved here to the States. I had my son. Life gets very like fast very quickly. So I still kept active. Like I would go take walks with my dog. So I've always been someone who enjoys being out there, out and being active, but I would not say I have an athletic background at all. Then fast forward, when I was 42, my brother, he's 4 years younger than me. He went to the doctor one day and they told him, okay, you need to lose weight. You've been like creeping up on the pounds. You need to get rid of this. Like you need to lose 30 pounds.
Okay.
So we were texting back and forth because we were very close. So we were texting back and forth and he was like, I need to lose weight. So I'm going to go back to my mountain bike. He bought like a really fancy bike, super light. And he was like going out in the mountains again. And then for the last 10 pounds, he told me, okay, so I need to lose these last 10 pounds. I'm kind of stuck. So I'm going to start running. So when he said that, I was like, running is one thing I've never done. Like I've never really like gone out there and run, but I've always been like curious about when I saw other people running, it's like, there's gotta be something to this because people look happy when they're running. Like I would see my neighbor running and it's like, they're running and they're like in the zone. And it's like, there's a reason why people go out and run. I mean, there's gotta be something to this.
Yep.
So I told my brother, okay. He was like, well, if I train, like if I start running and I lose this weight, I can run these 10K December 31st in Madrid, which is the largest 10K in Spain, one of the largest in Europe. It's like 45,000 runners.
Wow.
Night is at 6 p.m. December 31st. So usually people go out and run. A lot of people go out to cheer the runners. And then people go back home and eat dinner. So, and then say goodbye to the year. So it's like a big event.
Gotcha.
Good.
That's a healthy way to ring in the new year.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And people running costumes, like,
oh, wow.
just crazy, like tutus, like you see guys dressed like in women's costumes. It's a lot of fun. So my brother said, I'm just trying to see if I can do that 10K. I said, okay, if you do it, if you sign up, I'll sign up with you and I'll run it with you. So it was kind of pushing him to run. Just stay like close, like just have this bonding moment with my brother. So then the registration came out and he said, okay, I signed us up for this race. So now you're going to put your money where your mouth is and run with me. So then I had to start training, and then, like, we ran the 10K together, but at that point he was like way ahead. So I think he finished like 15 minutes ahead of me or something. So,
Okay.
but that's how
It got you started. That's cool.
yeah. So it was that bonding experience with him. But then I was like, I kind of like this. Like, it was a way of just having that moment just for me. How you tell your family, I'm doing this for myself, and then I'm just going to go out and run. And this is just my time to be. It's kind of meditative in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a great way to just kind of work through the problems of the day and come back in a better mood. That's what got you started running. And I love the fact that you detailed how you changed your running experience from sort of a bonding thing with your brother and realized that this was something that you wanted to pursue on your own. These days, what do you do as far as like a training schedule goes? Like, how many days a week? Does it change seasonally? Does it change when you have a goal race in mind? And, with COVID these days, what are you doing to stay motivated?
So I like running 5 days a week. I find that that's the best. That's the number of days that I really enjoy. If I put that extra 6 day, it tends to be a challenge. Some weeks I can make it happen, other weeks I can't. So 5 days is my sweet spot. 4 days is not enough. So the week that I have 4 days, that I only run 4 days, I'm not in a good mood. To me, running is, again, it's so meditative that I am happy. When I do it in the morning, I'm happy for the rest of the day. So it's just, I don't go out there and just get it done. It's just like I go out there and I just enjoy it. So then I'm just more productive at work. In the weekends, I'm in a better mood. I sleep better. So my sweet spot is 5 days. The other 2 days, I usually rest completely one day. I go for a walk with my dog, but like I still say, I don't lay down on the couch, but I don't run and I don't exercise. It's like I don't do strength training. And then 2 days a week, I try to strength train at least 2 days a week.
Good for you. I was going to ask that question next. Okay.
Yeah, so I try to balance it. So I enjoy working like my upper body a lot. So I try to do like 30 minutes, 45 minutes of upper body, and then maybe legs, like upper body and abs, and then legs, maybe another 30 minutes. So I choose stuff on YouTube, and I just, however many time I have, then I just, like, okay, I have 30 minutes. I'm going to do this. And I have a playlist on YouTube. Okay. And it's actually public. So if people are curious, they can go check it out. I just, do whatever I feel like doing that day. Really, I'm not super, like, I'm structured because I try to do 2 days of strength training, but it's not like it varies. One days I feel like, okay, I'm going to do more intense stuff. Other days I'm like, I'm going to do low impact. I just, I'm tired. I didn't sleep well. So
yeah. Being aware of what your body needs at any given day or any given week is a big thing. It's a great way to avoid injury. And
and in terms of being motivated, I find it's easy for me to stay motivated with working out. It's not as easy to stay motivated with other things. So I always find motivation to work out. But,
yeah, gotcha. So you're just naturally attuned to it.
I just like the endorphins, the endorphins.
Endorphins,
yeah, refreshing. I don't know. I just like it. So even if I am not motivated for other things, I'm always motivated to work out. If I am tired, at least I'm motivated to go out for a walk.
Yeah, gotcha.
If I'm like, okay, I'm really, really like tired, because I work, and before we started the interview, I told you I have a very demanding job. So if my work is super stressful and I'm tired, I still find that 30-40 minutes walk with my dog just makes me happy. So I don't need, this is not going to be helpful for other people who are looking for that, like, okay, what should I do to stay motivated? It makes me feel good. So
gotcha.
I need motivation to do other things, but not to exercise.
Gotcha. Now, as far as like when you are out there running 5 days a week, do you break it up, or do you just run by feel all the time, or is it the kind of thing where you have like specific workouts on different days?
I do, yes. So I find that what works for me the most is having a couple days that I do interval workouts. I
Mhm.
do two, like 2 minutes fast, 1 minute, jogging, and repeat, I don't know, 8, 10 times. I usually do that on Saturdays. I just enjoy doing that because, again, that endorphin rush of like going fast and then going slow and then going fast. I don't know. I think it pushes your heart rate. It puts you in that sweet spot when you hit that runner's high.
Yep.
I
Yep.
feel, I don't know. I think everybody should do that to the best. I mean, you don't have to go super fast, but even if you're walking, if you run 2 minutes and then you walk a minute, you still feel it, like that,
Oh, absolutely.
like the winds. I don't know. It's just the breathing and everything. It's just the right kind of like tough, and then but not like you're pushing yourself, but you're not like completely beat up the rest of the day.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Like, yeah, like you were saying
yeah,
earlier, like either interval workouts, maybe fartleks, just something to mix it up a little bit.
right. So Saturdays I tend to do that, and then Sundays I do a long run, and then the other three, I tend to fit in there another interval training that's a little longer. So I maybe do like 10 minutes, 3 times,
Gotcha.
So again, depending on sometimes, like, if I don't have a lot of time for whatever the reason, instead of 3 10 minutes intervals, I do 2. If I have more time, I do 4. So I am flexible that way. But I do like to keep the day structured because
Yeah.
it's that routine gets me going. So it's like, okay, Saturdays, this is what I do on Saturdays. Sundays, I have my long run. And also it helps my family know that this is
Exactly.
like Sundays, for example. My son sometimes texts me during my long run and he's like, what time did you leave? Like he kind of knows what time we need to start running. He's so he's like, okay, she's gonna be out there at least 2 hours. So
Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha.
you ride. So
Exactly. The whole family can plan around it. Yeah, exactly.
right,
Same
right,
thing
right.
here. Same thing here.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about like your favorite running moments, whether they are your race PRs or just, you know, some of the highlights of your running career.
So I've had a few, like that first race that I did with my brother, that feeling of accomplishment of having, running a 10K was like, oh my God, I just ran a 10K. Like not everybody does it. And I know that many people run 10Ks. It's not like this huge, but to me, it was like, okay, I am this kid who's not super accomplished in high school. And now I can do this, like, so that definitely was something that was what started my love for running. First, I remember distinctly training. So I downloaded a plan and then I just calculated with this calculator. I didn't know anything about running really. I mean, I had been running for 3 months and like, okay, I'm going to run a half marathon. So
Gotcha.
my numbers there and it's like, okay, so you were going to run this half marathon anywhere in between 2 hours 30 and 2 hours 45. So I was like, okay, let's challenge myself. I'm going to do 2 hours 30. So I followed this training plan that would get me finishing in 2 hours 30. So I ran it. My family's super excited. All my in-laws come to cheer me up. They make signs and I'm like, so, and so my husband texts me and he's like, we're in mile 9. And I remember that was like huge because my son was with the sign. They were filming me and we're like, oh, mom, go. So I was so happy. But then my husband like yells, you're on track to do 2 hours 20. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my God. Like he would get the time, like from the organizers. He would
Yeah.
saying, and he was like, you're on track for 2 hours 20. Go, go, go. So I finished in 2 hours 18.
Wow. Good for
Oh my
you.
God. I cried so much. I was like crying and I didn't have my YouTube channel. I wish I had, because I was like crying, like, oh my God, I finished in 2 hours 18. So I was crying so much. One of the volunteers, he was like, are you okay? Like, are you feeling sick? I'm like, no, I just finished in 2 hours 18. He probably was like, like, she's crazy. So that was an moment.
Yeah, it's like self-actualization. That's wonderful.
Yeah,
I
it
love
was like, oh my
stories like
God.
that.
So, but then I remember going to inside the porta potty, and I was in so much pain. I could not get out. I was like, I think I might need help to get out of here. Like, I was like, okay, everything hurts. Like, my family. That was an awesome feeling too. And then running again in Philadelphia, my second marathon was the Philadelphia Marathon. And I actually finished under 5 hours, which I wanted to finish like around that. So I finished under 5. That was another huge moment because I thought I was going to do like 5:05, 5:10. So pushed to the end. Like I had the pacers behind me and I was like, I need to be.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was another big moment. And then this year, at the beginning of this year, actually, I had a big PR because I PR'd in the 10K. I went under the hours, which was a big goal of mine. And then I appeared in the half marathon in Central Park in the snow. That was another big moment. And that I caught on tape because I was filming myself. And I cried too. I mean, I cry a lot because it's emotional. Like, you're done and the adrenaline is still rushing. And
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean,
and then I just cry. It's like, oh my God, I did it. It's like, when am I going to stop crying? I don't know. I think I'm going to cry, constantly. But I really want to, at some point, qualify for Boston. And I'm still far, but there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do it other than I need to stay consistent. And
Well, I mean, running 5 days a week, you're definitely, you're making all the right moves.
I have to up my mileage though. So I really need to, like, I've never run more than 40 miles a week. I think I need to like get to like 60 or I think that would be the sweet spot to qualify for Boston. So
yeah, that's usually about, you're talking exactly correctly. That's usually, I mean, that's, when I hit Boston, I was running about 50 miles a week when I finally got my numbers, my time down to that point. So I think you're right on the threshold of being able to do it. If you're running 40 now, you're not far off.
Right. Yeah. It's just I was hoping to get a marathon in this year to kind of, because of how I'm running and my intervals and everything points at like running like a 4:25 marathon. So I was like, if I can do a 4:25 this year, I could do potentially the under 4 next. See what I mean? As you age, you need to be also mindful of how many more miles do you have in your legs. See what I mean? Like how many marathons are you going to run for time? So it was like, okay, if I do 4:25 this year, I could get to that 3:55 that I would need for Boston next to qualify. So if Boston doesn't change the qualifying times, which, they do like 3:45 extra,
it's a moving target.
Another extra year. Yeah, which could happen. But, like it would get me closer at least. But this year there's no marathon. So I'm training for the virtual New York City Marathon.
Okay.
So if I can get, closer to that 4:25, 4:30 for that virtual, then that will get me closer to Boston. But, this COVID thing is sidetracking all of us because I think it's hard to, race a virtual race when you don't have volunteers out there.
Yeah. And the crowd's just pushing you. Yeah.
You don't have that extra, because the crowds are big.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like,
that and just seeing the other runners around you. It's just,
right.
It pushes you to keep going when, I mean, just as well as I do, when you get to those later miles in a marathon, everything is telling you to just stop and go home and grab a beer.
Right. And you're so, to me, being hungry is just that, like, okay, I need to eat something. Like, these tricks with, like, I don't know, I need to nail down for the marathon because I've always been super hungry in all I've run 2 marathons. I'm always like, when I hit 18 miles, I'm hungry. It's just like, okay, something's wrong with me. Like my stomach is like growling. And
Well, that's very interesting. Do you fuel beyond like, drinks and gels? Do you ever actually take real food with you on those longer races?
So when I do, I'm still hungry. Like, but yeah, like I've tried like oranges, bananas. I've tried cookies, like just plain cookies, like the sugar rush. Okay, let's just do sugar. Like, and nothing really, like always in that 18th mile. It's like, oh my God, I wish I could just eat.
Yeah. It's just, one of those things. For me, it's
Like
always thirst.
Like eat a sandwich, like something. I don't know. So I think it has to do with like electrolytes, probably like the salt.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's something that, I mean, that's why you do those long runs too, to nail down your
Exactly.
thing. So it's probably something else that I have to eat in the morning. Like making my breakfast.
Pre-fuel beforehand, yeah.
Yeah. Or the night before that last night.
Yeah, that's one of those arts that's, like I said, it's like kind of a moving target. You just, you can try for years to nail that stuff down, and there are certain things that will always elude you.
And there's always something, marathon is such a long, it's 26.2 miles. So you're out there for so long that anything can happen. Like it can start raining. It can be windy. It can be super hot. Like my first marathon was so hot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just, I mean, I did not have a good marathon. Everything was tough, and I was dehydrated, and it was just not a good experience whatsoever.
That's too bad. I'm glad though that you went back for another though. I mean,
I did, because it was
glad
like,
it didn't ruin it.
People keep coming back, so there's gotta be something.
Yeah.
People do it, so I'm gonna give it another try. Yeah.
Good for you.
There's gotta be something here. Yeah.
Well, so I mean, we talked about you just kind of naturally just went into what your motivations are, what your goals are for the future. It sounds like the BQ is kind of pushing you to get better and get stronger. But tell me a little bit about your favorite race distance. Is it safe to say it's the marathon, or do you prefer shorter races just, for the way they make you feel?
I like the half because it's that sweet spot. It's like long enough that pacing is an art. Like even for a 10K, you have to pace yourself, but there's not. I mean, there's wiggle room there for it. Like if you go out too fast, you're not gonna blow yourself, But if you go out too fast in the half marathon, you like bust.
Yeah.
Okay, like I'm done. So there's that sweet spot where you have to nail your gels situation, your water situation, and you need to carb load. So I think the half is my sweet, but the marathon is that challenge, like that real challenge.
Yeah.
I need to say, okay, you need to be prepared for it. Like it's that unknown of what's going to happen that could sidetrack me. Whereas in a half marathon, I feel like everything is a lot more in control right now for me at this point,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not be that way. Like it used to be like, okay, I'm going to be able to finish. But now I know that I can finish a half marathon. Like even if I am not, like I could run a half marathon tomorrow,
Exactly.
in a good amount of time, like hopefully not hitting the wall. See what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Especially with the kind of mileage that you're running every week, you're kind of at that point where, the half marathon is more of a tactical challenge than a survive type of challenge.
Right. Whereas the marathon is still that survival. And it's like, okay, am I going to survive? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think that ever changes for anybody, to tell you the truth, with a marathon. It's just,
I don't know. I hear people, I interviewed Matt Bertrand. I don't know if you the interview, but he did say that the marathon to him was like he's like because he runs so much that he's always ready for a marathon, so to speak. He might not run a marathon super fast, but he's always ready for it. Whereas if I had to run a marathon tomorrow, it would take me probably 6 hours to do it.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like I'm not there. I'm not ready yet. So
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's really hard. That distance and training for that distance it's so demanding. It's so much of your time. It's so physically demanding that I
Yeah.
find if I don't have, I can peak with my training and be ready, like solidly ready. But if I don't take little breaks, especially at my age, if I don't have like a couple of months in between those training cycles, I'll just
Right.
blow up. But
Right. It's training for a marathon is very unforgiving. Like you miss a couple of long runs, you're probably not going to, hit your target.
exactly.
Need them. Like those long runs are like, to me at least, those are the kind of runs that you need for, yeah,
Yeah, that's the bread and butter of that training. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I'm going to switch gears with you a little bit here. I think everybody has a good feel for you as a runner. So um, I wanted to know really more than anything as far as the social media thing goes. What was the spark that got you started down the YouTube road and, all the other outlets, Instagram and all that kind of thing?
So this is really interesting. So when I was growing up, I always wanted to be a journalist. This is really interesting. I haven't told this to anybody, but I wanted to be an anchor. Like I wanted to be a host. Like that was when I was growing up. Like, how some girls or boys, they want to be policemen, or that's what I wanted to be. Like I wanted to have either a radio show or a TV show in which I would like interview people, and like that was my thing. Like and I
Gotcha.
wanted to be when I grew up. So it's really interesting because I think life takes you in other directions. So because of my work, I have to be very inquisitive. So I still have that, like I have to ask tough questions to, the people that I work with, to my partners and the clients that we work with. So I have to really get information from them that sometimes they don't even know that they need to tell me. And I need to identify that. Okay, so we need to know this to plan for this project, or we need to know these logistics. And like, I need to connect the dots and get information. So it's interesting how life in the end works itself out. But to me, this YouTube thing is just the communication, and the podcast really fulfills like that. Interviewing people makes me happy, like
Oh, absolutely.
running makes me happy, but interview people that I can learn things from, that has that common thing with me and with many other people in the community, that just makes me happy. And that makes me, I don't know, it's my one thing that really, through these hard times, because COVID is hard, like being home most of the time, not being able to hug people you love, your friends, and just being with your friends. I'm very social. This is the one thing that keeps me, I don't know, like talking to people and learning things about other people, and also fulfilling that part of me that wanted to have that radio show, that TV show, and that, like
Yeah.
people and
So
getting.
this is just like a natural fit for you, obviously. Yeah.
It is, but I didn't really think, when I started, it was not like I thought, okay, I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to have my own radio show. Let's do this because this is what I wanted to do when I was a little girl. And now this is the natural thing for me. So no, it just came naturally. Like I gravitated towards this because it makes me happy, and I remember when I was growing up, I would actually interview kids. Like they would be like 6 or 7 years old. You're going to be this singer, and you're gonna be Madonna, and I'm gonna interview you. Like, and I would put a wig on the person. I would be like, okay, with like a microphone, pretending to be interviewing Madonna, because that was when
That's great.
Madonna was like the thing. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, she was like, like a virgin and all that. So yeah, that was my thing. So it's
Cool.
that's what naturally, but I was not a conscious thing. I just, I just wanted to do it for me and to share with other people. And then I was like, this is making me really happy. So
That's so great to hear.
happy. Life is not forever. Life is short. For some of us, it's shorter than others. So at least if I'm going, I want to, say, okay, I just did, I was happy. So
Exactly. And I think the fact that that makes you happy so naturally really comes across on screen and in the podcast too. Let me add that.
thank you.
It's just one of those things where you can tell you're really enjoying yourself. And I think that's why your audience is growing so quickly, because what I've found is that's really what makes the difference between a successful social media presence and not. You can have all the bells and whistles, you can throw money and make things super flashy, but that's not what does it. It's people like you who are like just are naturally smiling, who are diving deep with people because they really just enjoyed doing it. And hats off to you. And that's the reason why I wanted to actually turn the tables on you, to use that term again, and give you a chance to talk about your motivations, because I know you've got a lot of fans out there who are a fan of your channel, who are subscribers. And, I think it's, for me, I knew it would be a lot of fun to talk to you and talk to you about you instead of you going after, other guests. No, I can't say enough about how much I have enjoyed your content. So I'm so glad that I'm so glad there is a YouTube, and I'm so glad you're there.
I thank you. It's really interesting how grateful I am that YouTube exists.
Yeah.
Thinking about this, it's like, okay, especially now, I consume so much YouTube, and to me, it's so much better than any other like TV. Like I watch shows on TV, yes, but YouTube is so like there's so much on YouTube that you can always like find something you want to watch.
Tell me a little bit more about where you see your channel going. I think it's safe to assume you'll continue interviewing people, but are you branching out in new directions? What are the plans for the future?
So really right now, so my next video, well, I have a what I eat in the day that I filmed yesterday, but it was like a fail, completely fail. But I thought maybe I shouldn't post it, but it's going to go up because people need to see what it is. Yeah, it was not a good day for eating. So, that happens.
Oh, yeah.
You have everything under control, and then life throws you a curveball. But I really want to focus on my training plan right now because I'm working with Ali Felsenthal. She's a coach and she's super accomplished.
Yep, I know who she is.
So, yeah, she and I are working together. So I'm gonna put out the training that I'm gonna be following for this virtual marathon. So that's a video that I need to work on, just to be able to put together all the different components of the training. Because she's big on strength training and workouts and stretching and all that, so that you don't get injured.
She's great. She really is.
Yeah, she's awesome. As well. And then I want to continue like doing those because I want people to understand if you follow a training plan and you stay consistent, you're going to improve. Unless you get injured. But if you stay consistent, you're going to improve your times and you get better at whatever goals you have. So I want people to see that it works. If you follow your plan and you trust it, you're going to get there. So that's going to focus moving forward. But I have interviews coming up that are really cool that I think people are really going to enjoy. So I have, it's actually a big name, someone who actually wrote a book. I don't want to give it away, but he's awesome. And that's coming up shortly. That's awesome. I have a couple people who are aiming at like breaking PRs that are like marathon PRs that are like really. So yeah, I'm excited with the interviews. Yeah.
Very cool. I'm so glad to hear that.
We'll get excited too. Yeah. But no, I want to continue bringing. So what I want to do with my interviews is bring people that are different. So I don't want to necessarily just bring fast runners because I know many people out there who don't necessarily see themselves, like they might find it interesting, but they're not gonna like feel motivated by someone who's running a 220 marathon, for example. Like it's more like, okay, I am a run walker. You watch an interview with someone who walks and doesn't a marathon in 6 hours. So, or someone who did a challenge, like one of those Run Disney challenges that are like 4 days that, runners who are very fast have no interest in doing. That's basic, because they want to be fast. They don't want to just run 48 miles in, 4 days.
Which is quite a challenge in its own way.
I mean, it's a lot, yeah. So I wanted to bring different kinds of people, because runners coming on, they're all different. It's different. There's not a one size fits all. Like even for some of us, like I want to qualify for Boston. I know I'm not going to, I mean, if I could, that would be amazing, but I'm not going to qualify 20 times. Like some people out there who's like constantly qualifying for Boston. That's not me. I came late to this sport. I'm not going to qualify 20 times. I might qualify once. I might qualify twice, by 3 times, like, and if it goes beyond that, I would be like a dream, like beyond my wildest dreams. To me, my goal is really, yes, qualify for Boston. I want to be running for as long as I can run.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I want it to be an absolute lifetime thing. When I can't run anymore, 70, that's going to be the end.
70 years old and continue running whatever, hopefully I can run, 10Ks and have marathons when I'm 70, hopefully. So, but yeah, so I want to, through my channel, I want people to see that there's different kinds of runners, and there's not like we're all different. And absolutely. A mile, I mean, it sounds cliche, but a mile is a mile, and the speed doesn't matter, like.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember once I got into quote unquote an argument in somebody else's channel, because they were saying, well, if you run a marathon in over, I think it was 4:30, like that was the cutoff. If you're like over 4:30, you're not really a runner. And I'm like, I'm defending, like, well, for you, running that marathon in 3 hours might be much easier than for me to run it in 5 hours, or for somebody else to run it in 6. Like the amount of work that some of us are putting to run it in a certain amount of time.
Exactly. It's about challenging yourself.
Like it's something you would never do, because you are at that point where for you running 3, you're pacing someone running up, like the pace it for 3 hours. Those people can run a marathon in 2:15 or 2:20.
Exactly.
So for them, running a 3-hour marathon is nothing. And for me to run it, like to get to right now 4:30, it's like I have to push myself so hard. So for me, it takes a lot more effort. So no, excuse me, but like you're not saying that my effort is not important and doesn't matter. Like my effort is much larger and much bigger, and takes a lot more of my body and my mind than for you to run that marathon in 3. So
you just said it very well. And I'm so glad that you brought that up. It's to me, it's about strength of spirit. I don't think, that's why I wanted to jump on YouTube, because I want my channel to be able to help people to achieve their goals and not,
right.
I think it's natural. Everybody compares themselves sometimes to others, just to give yourself kind of a relative, something to shoot for. But the people who are out there, not just in the running world, but just in the world in general, who are out there putting people down and saying you're not good enough, and I just wish they would just disappear, or not really disappear. I don't want to say that. I wish they would adjust their attitude and realize that.
Keep it to themselves. Like if you don't have something nice to say, then don't say anything.
Exactly. Or just take a few minutes and think about what you're thinking and think about what you're saying to others. Don't knock anybody down. Everybody's trying. And it's all about being better tomorrow than you are today. It doesn't matter you compared to some other guy. Nobody's going to be Eliud Kipchoge except for Eliud. So just celebrate his victories with him, but then go back and be happy with where you are as well.
Right. It's, I take issue with that, with people who say, well, if you're walking a marathon, you're not really a marathoner. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, I just don't buy into any of that.
I've seen people walk. I know people who walk marathons who are faster than I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, there are some people out there who can walk like the wind.
right. I am a fast walker. So, I have passed people. Like I remember in a half marathon, there was this hill. I was like, when you're like, it was towards the end. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to walk it because I was like power walking. I passed people who were running,
Yeah.
like in the motion of running. And I was like,
Yeah.
just fast. I mean, like, I just passed you. It made me feel so good. Yeah, you're running, but I'm just passing you.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I
Cool.
mean, not too, but it gives you that boost of confidence. It's like, yeah. You want to run, but
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that finish line isn't that far. Here I come. That's awesome. So I want to ask you, what's the favorite part for you? What's the favorite part of your channel's growing success? Because you're starting to grow in leaps and bounds, and that makes me very, very happy. Because as I said when we started, your quality is high, and your personality is awesome. And I hope everybody who watches this goes over to your channel and clicks that subscribe button.
Thank you.
They will not regret it. But yeah, tell me about, what are your favorite parts about your channel starting to grow?
Reaching more people and being able to know more people. So when I have a new comment, this is really funny. When I have someone who's new and commenting on my channel, I always, I tend to say, stick around, there's more coming, because I really want them to stick around. I want to get to know them better. And when people, like when I say, when someone comments and they're like, I'm going to try and do, like recently I have a subscriber who said, I'm going to try and incorporate interval runs, interval training runs to my routine. I was like, if you do, come back and let us know how it went.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Steve. He came back and posted. So I did them yesterday. This is how they went. It makes me so happy because it's like, I'm getting to know these people better. Like, or when they post, I'm like running in Maine, or I'm running in Finland, I'm running in, I don't know, somewhere like not around here. It's like, oh, wow. Like I'm getting to know people from all these different walks of life and different areas of, like we live in other parts of the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so great, isn't it? It's just like,
It's great. And when people connect with you, like on that personal level, like I have friends from, one of the, like, I think she's one of my best friends. She's actually, I've never met her in real life. And we text each other all the time. How are your kids? How are my kids? And she's in Kansas. Like I would have never in my life met someone from Kansas if it wasn't because of YouTube and social media. So, so it's that's what's really gets me excited, like especially that first comment from someone new on the channel saying, I'm new subscriber, I want them to stick around. Like, just come back. Tell me how you're doing. Like, like, let's motivate each other. Let's, like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's the big thing for me too. I find that, I love when somebody says, hey, that little tip that you left in that video really helped me out. And it just makes my day. So I know exactly what you're talking about. That's so cool. So, okay, let me switch gears a little bit with you now. And I'm kind of curious to know, because you're, you dedicate so much time to running and to your running channel on social media. How do you balance everything? How do you like find the time to be able to run, to do social media, to deal with all the family stuff? And as you said at the beginning, it's such a demanding job as well. Like, do you have any secrets for the rest of us out here that are trying to balance all of it?
So I actually did training once with one of the companies that I work for. We did time management training. And the first thing, so the title of the course was time management. And the first thing that the person teaching us said was like, first of all, you can't manage time. Time manages you. Like you have 24 hours a day. So there's nothing you can do about it. You can make them 25, you can't make them 26. It's all about prioritizing. So you have to prioritize. And sometimes my job is like Some weeks I have 40 hours and 40 hours are fine. But other weeks I could work 60 hours and I would not be done.
Yeah.
Like this weekend, for example, I was answering emails this morning at 7 a.m. for work.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to have to put 3 or 4 hours of work this weekend just to get ahead for Monday because I don't want to be overwhelmed Monday. So if that happens, obviously it pays the bills. It's important. It's, you know, what's going to pay for retirement, going to pay for my son's college, and all the nice things that I have. So that's, you have to make it a priority. So unfortunately, YouTube would come later. So, so really you have to prioritize. So my family comes first. If my son needs me, I'm there. I'm dropping everything. Right. Like if I've been in client calls sometimes and my son calls me, I tell the client, my son's calling me. It might be an emergency. I pick him up. Hey honey, is this an emergency? It's not, well, you're going to have to wait because I'm with the client, but I have to pick them because he's my priority. And then, you know, everything, you know, it's family first, work because it pays the bills again. And then it's my running, and that comes like in a pack. Running my YouTube and my podcast is that other component. So when I have more time, things down. My son needs me a little less. Work is not as demanding. I have my 40 hours structured and it works. Then, you know, I devote more time to YouTube, which is kind of why sometimes I produce a lot of content and other weeks I can't produce as much.
Yeah.
It's because
I know the feeling.
My other areas of my life are just like really overwhelmingly like, yeah. So
I'm just glad to hear that you actually have those priorities set so that you know exactly how you're going to attack.
Unfortunately, there's no way around it. It's not something, I mean, you know, I can't just quit my job. And it is a really good job that actually I really enjoy doing. So that's another part of my life that if, like, sometimes I think I'm so grateful to have this job that I really enjoy. And that because of COVID, I haven't lost it, you know, like, because so many people lost their jobs these days that I am so grateful that I have this that I'm doing that actually makes a good living for me. And that feels me like I like the people that I work with so much. Like, you know, this is completely sidetracking, but I had my one-on-one 2 weeks ago with my manager, and I told him I so enjoy working for this company. Like, I am so happy working here. Like, I hope it never, like, at this point in my career, I hope this lasts. Like, I see myself retiring here because I'm like happy. So
that's so nice to
it's
have.
just it's demanding and it's stressful, but for so many other ways, it's so rewarding that you take the stress, you know, the ups and downs, and you know, things that happen that are like, oh my God, this is so frustrating. But it's still it compensates you because life is not happiness all the time. This is something that my mom actually used to say. You're not going to be happy all the time. It's not like, but those moments of happiness in between, that's what's sustaining you for when you're not like, you know, like looking forward to that next, you know, like when you're working hard, it's like, okay, but I have this on the calendar.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. It gives you something to shoot for. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like this thing that's like, so now that we don't have races, you have a virtual race. It's like, okay, I'm going to try and make it my race, you know, like, okay, I don't have races on the calendar, but this is something I can look forward to and prepare for. And just, I don't know, it's just like something that you have on your calendar right there that you can say, okay, have these many weeks there. I can get ready. Like, I can for it. Yeah. So it's something so it's just beats, you have to look for the good things in your life, especially now that because this is hard. I mean, this thing is just so like, and speaking of calendar, you don't know when it's going to end.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a whole other, you know, that's a whole added stress that, you know, most of us have never had to deal with, you know, that sort of big unknown hanging over all of our heads.
Right. I was talking to my brother the other day, and he actually put it, and he said, well, we had to in our lives, we had to go through a pandemic, like other people have to go through war, famine, or, something, I don't know, like a destructive event that destroys your whole neighborhood or something, a tornado or something like that. We are going through a pandemic. I mean, it's just what we had to go through. So
exactly. It's another experience. But,
yeah.
so you kind of skirted up against answering my next question. But I'm going to ask it because I think there's probably a lot more we can learn from you on this one. How, and again, it's very open-ended, so take it wherever you want to. How has running changed your life for the better?
So it's given me, I think it's helped me know myself better. That's the biggest gift. Like, I didn't know, and this is another cliche, many people say you're meant to do hard things. Yes, but until you do those hard things, you don't know that you can. Yes, like we all are meant to do hard things, but what are those hard things?
Yeah.
So I started running and it was like, okay, maybe I can run a 10K, maybe I can run a half marathon, maybe I can run a marathon. It keeps giving me these opportunities to know myself better.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that, yes, I can do this. Like it's always like when you have a hard training run, like you have to like, okay, I have to do these many 800s. Like now I'm going to start doing the Yasso 800s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Ali is big on those. So
oh, cool.
when I start doing this, it's like, can I do 10 Yasso 800? I don't think I can. Well, let's see. You're going to see.
There's only one way to find out. Yeah.
yeah. We're going to find out if I can. So it's just that getting to know you better. Like, okay, this trial and error, and I'm going to try doing this if I can. I'm going to tweak it and see if I can get to it this way. And, like it helps you kind of dig deeper and see, okay, like I can't wake up early every single day of the week. Like that's a big thing for me. Like I can't just wake up super, super early every day. I need to have one day that I wake up later. Like
yeah.
wake up every day at 6 a.m. so I can get my run in the morning and all that. But I can't do 6 a.m. every day. There's got to be one day in the week that I wake up at 7:30. I'm sorry, I just can't wake up every day.
No, you have to have a little break in there just for sanity's sake, if not for physical.
Yeah. There's
rest.
this one day that I have to, it's like, okay, I can go. And for me, I have to go early to bed every day. But there's that one day I have to go later, like just cut myself some slack. Which
absolutely.
That was last night, actually. So.
Okay, I gotcha. Cool. So I'm going to ask you, I know your schedule is so packed as it is, but do you have any hobbies or interests outside of running and YouTubing?
Oh, yes, I do, actually.
Podcasting.
I don't think I've shared this, but lately I have discovered sewing.
Oh, wow.
It's a completely unrelated thing. Yeah. So I asked my husband for a sewing machine for Mother's Day, and he actually doubted. He was like, "Are you sure you want a sewing machine? This is so like out of like not." I was like, "Yeah, I want just a basic one, like that. Just one." I mean, it was not an expensive gift at all. But I have discovered that it puts me, at ease, and it's challenging in different ways. And I like that I don't consider myself a super crafty person. So that's another thing, like, because you have to like
details
the needle and like understand the machine, and like, jumps up, and then, like I've discovered that I like doing little things with my hands, and yeah, and that's a whole of challenging, but that's like the end of my it's a new hobby that I have like at the end. But yeah, I try to fit in like 2 or 3 hours a week.
Gotcha.
Hobby.
Gotcha. That's so cool. I'm going to ask you this next question. You can direct it at runners, or you can direct it at social media people. Do you have like a favorite piece of advice that you think will benefit, like I said, either runners or YouTube people, or both, if you want to go after both of them?
Be persistent. Don't, like, be persistent, but know when you have to fold. So I play poker. I like playing poker. I'm not a good poker player, but I like the game. When you don't have a good hand, you fold them, and you to the next round, but you fold them, you cut your losses. So stay persistent, but if you're doing something that's not working, don't be afraid to say, this is not working out. I'm going to try a different thing. So you be persistent, but don't try the same thing over and over and over. And that's insanity,
There you go.
Again, and expecting different results. If you don't have a good hand, fold it, try something else. But yes, with YouTube, with running, if you do following a type of training that doesn't get you where you want to go, don't be afraid to change it. Learn from the experience, try and find out why it's not working. And yes, keep doing it, but change that one thing that you need to change. So identifying that is key in YouTube and in running. If a type of video is not compelling to your audience, don't keep doing it, because it's just not going to work out, obviously. But if it works, it makes you happy, it makes your audience happy, keep doing more of that.
Gotcha. That's great advice. That's great advice for both. I think you very eloquently stated it so that it applied to running and to YouTubing.
It applies to life as well. Yeah, to relationships, to anything. Yeah. If you're in a relationship, you're going to have to fold them. I mean, it's really important to know when in life you have to get out. This is something that's not for me. So
try a different angle. Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, maybe you want to be in a relationship, yes, but how do you want to be in that relationship is what you really need to understand. How do you get to being in a healthy relationship? So
there you go. Well said. Well said. Cool. So, Suzie, I just got to say, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. I knew this was going to be a great one. I knew this was going to be a great one when we got started. And thank you so much. You're so giving with your time. And especially, I know you've got a lot going on up there, post-hurricane and all that kind of fun.
It wasn't even a hurricane. It was a tropical storm. So
yeah, but you know what I mean? It seems to have done some damage up that way. So, all the more reason why I'm appreciative of your time. Thank you so much. All the best of luck to you. You've already got me as a subscriber. Well. Thank you. Like I was saying, you've already got me as a subscriber, but I'm a huge fan, and I'm going to do everything I can to get more people over to the I Run Things YouTube channel. Do me a favor and just quickly tell everybody where they can find you online and how they can get in touch with you.
So if they Google I Run Things, I'm probably going to, I should appear because I've done it myself. Yes, they will find my podcast is everywhere. It's in Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, it's everywhere. And then my YouTube channel is I Run Things. And then on Instagram and on Twitter, I am Real I Run Things, because there's another woman that run things. So yeah. But yeah, if people Google I Run Things, they will see my red logo. Yeah. With I Run.
All right.
Yeah.
So everything that you mentioned, I will link in the description for the video.
Thank you.
And make it easier for everybody to find you. So again, thank you so much, and all the best to you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too. We'll be in touch, and thanks, Paul. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye.